Cool. So we're recording. Awesome. And great. So I'm reading a lot. Ishmael stands isolated in light center stage. He stares out over the audience. He slowly starts singing Tomorrow Belongs to Me in Arabic. We won.
We won.
We won.
Soft lights fade up.
I don't believe in having strong opinions. I like to go to McDonald's. I work. I watch porn every now and then. I mean, I don't matter. And the world is scary. I just want a good hamburger and a nice bed. I've heard people talk about how doing nothing is just as bad as doing all the evil stuff, but you're not evil if you never had the power to help in the first place, right? So when I died, I knew I wouldn't be punished for anything. I died eating McDonald's fries. I wish I'd splurged on a shake.
The world ended. Well, in a way. Everyone was gone, except for that small group in the compound who knew what to plan for. When I was young, I had a dream that it was the end of the world. The moon kept getting bigger and bigger. Then it splintered and cracked and disintegrated. And there was no more moon. And it felt like God had left the world. I hadn't realized how much he was here. That's not how it happened when it happened for real. I mean, with the moon. Well, maybe that's because the end of the world hasn't really happened yet. There are still people, just not me. Just not most everyone. I have to say, it solved a lot of problems, being dead. I don't mind it as much as I worried I would. Did you remember that his name was Felipe?
Omar, just FYI, we just started. We're on page 88, and we're about to get to your Alexander the Great.
All right, I'm catching up with you guys. I'm opening the document.
Lights isolate Alexander the Great. He doesn't look quite as sparkly as one would imagine. He smiles as though thinking, these loser terrorists have no idea what they're in for. Do you want me to just jump in for now, Omar, until you get settled?
I am on page 88.
Awesome.
Bottom of the page.
Right.
Alexander the Great makes a slow entrance to the stage. No.
Oh, you confused me. I was like, where's that stage? You have to have something to do. No one ever knows what to do when they win. You have to keep fighting somebody, don't you? It's all, what do you think the evil queen did all those days and nights alone in her castle after she thought she'd killed Snow White? Yes, we had that story in my day. I've always wondered.
Safa is isolated in a pool of light. It's 1 a.m. She sits in her room looking up at the moon through her window. She prays. The guard sits balanced on the headboard of Safa's bed. She has short hair and a stern but beautiful face. She is dressed in shining silver armor and has giant angelic wings that fully extended would be big enough to wrap Safa in twice over. She is otherworldly, definitely not human. She wears the same pendant that Cassandra gave the gentleman.
In the name of Allah, the gracious, the merciful. My God, I don't know the right prayer. Thank you for making the bombs stop. They say we are the only ones left on the whole earth. But now we are safe. I've been spending a lot of time with Brutos. He's like me. He loves you, despite winter. I like the way he talks, like a poet. Today we were resting after our work. I shut my eyes and he laid my head on his shoulder so that I could try and sleep. I could hear his heartbeat. It sounded like the drum at the center of creation. And his chest, it seemed like it was bigger on the inside, like the sun and moon and all the stars in heavens were in him. It scared me a little to hear something so big and powerful inside a person. My heart feels like a tiny bird fluttering in a cage, so fragile and wild and delicate, but still there were moments when I couldn't tell which beats were his and which were mine. And I thought, how extraordinary is God? How beautiful that a man and woman can be both the same creature, both equally human and both equally human and yet so utterly different. How do you do that? To have the whole universe as my pillow, to feel tiny and delicate and strong in my delicateness. And what it must be like for him to have the whole universe inside his chest and let a little bird rest safely on top of it. I think I would be happy to listen to his heartbeat forever. I can't quite believe it's possible that anything could ever stop its rhythm. I could never care for someone as much as I care for him. All I want is to be with him, to hear his voice, touch his skin. I cannot imagine that paradise could hold greater wonders than that. They say heaven will come now, but it was already here, in a way. I pity the angels who have such heavenly glories and yet cannot lay their heads on someone's shoulder and hear the song of their heart. I thank you for ears. I thank you for skin and taste and eyes. I thank you that we can hold each other. I wish you had a body, that I could see you, that you could hold me. Human beings need to hold things. Winter says the more we abandon the desires of our body, the closer we are to paradise. But I disagree. I thank you for everything about my body. I think it is a tool you've given us to better understand you. And I know it is a sin, and I'm sorry. But I don't understand how something sinful can make me so joyful, draw me closer to you. I love him. I've never felt this way. I don't have a mother. I am the only woman on earth, and no one taught me how to be one. They never got the chance. I was too young, and now I am confused. Show me your will for me, the God that winter hates. It is not the God I feel in my heart. I love the God I feel. I love you. Show me what to do. Please?
She turns, unknowingly burying her head in the guard's lap. She cries. The guard strokes her head. Safa calms.
Is it true? Leslie and the car are gone?
Dead. They were fighting about whether genetics and ethnic background have a hearing on moral fitness, have a bearing on.
They killed each other over that?
Yes. Violence towards another without cause is not purity of spirit. It's good they were rooted out, like the others.
What are your thoughts on the matter?
Would you be here if I agreed with them?
That means there are only 10 of us left. 3 women, 7 men.
The righteous. I have made a decision. I will make Safa my wife.
She is 14.
She's the last woman. We have to usher in a new age. You will be the brother of the new Eve. Why else did you sacrifice so much to protect her? Heaven will come soon, once we are truly pure, and there will be a new race of men upon the earth, a race of the pure and the righteous.
When? The earth is a wasteland. When do we bring it back to life?
We are so close to discovering the secret on a grand scale, not just a plant in a pot. We must keep working. There's nowhere else to go anyway.
Did we lose Ashley?
I think we did.
I'm gonna text her.
I think she
Because
did. Yeah, she
I
got
don't
disconnected.
I don't know if we want to like keep, yeah. But I'll finish this scene really quickly. On the side of the stage, Safa sits, flicking static channels on a television screen. Interspersed, we hear Berlin has fallen. We can confirm that there is no one left alive in North America, etc. Okay, I'm gonna text her right now. One moment. I think I'm the host now, so I'm going to see if I have to let her in.
Yeah, you probably do if she's in the...
Yeah, I just texted her. We shall see. She said something just happened to my Wi-Fi and I got kicked off. Okay. Please stand by. Okay, she's saying to just keep going. All right.
Okay. Oh, because it's recording anyway.
Yeah, but give me 1 second. I just want to find out what role I should read them for. 1 second.
I can do stage direction for this scene.
That would be great, Jeremy. Thank you very much. So yeah, so just
Continue?
yeah, yep. And I'll
Okay.
be the princess.
Right. Act 3, Scene 4. A young woman stands in the middle of the desert. It is twilight. The sky is Brandeis blue. She has several old-fashioned gold and silver and bronze telescopes set up and jumps around looking intently through one and another. She wears a shift-like dress and has long, honey blonde hair intensely braided down her back with ribbons woven throughout. Ishmael enters, lost in thought. He's been walking for a while, trying to clear his head. He stops when he sees the woman.
Who are you?
I'm me. Who are you?
Ismail.
There are thousands of Ishmaels. Which one are you?
Ismail Hamad. Hamad.
That doesn't narrow it down much.
How are you alive?
She doesn't answer him. She's too preoccupied with her telescopes.
What are you?
He's about to say doing, but he's interrupted.
I'm a princess.
Where?
I'm a princess everywhere.
I mean, what is your country?
Grown-up people so love facts and figures. If you tell them you are a princess, they want to know the latitude and longitude of your farthest reaching borders, the imports and exports of your kingdom, and the rate of your currency exchange. They never ask you about the essential things. What does your kingdom feel like? What do you love there? They want to know what you are, but have no real interest in who. My father is a king. His castle is not here. That is my sorrow. There, I have answered an important question without you having to ask. What are you?
I am
You don't know?
a crusader. No, I'm a man.
You don't know. And I started with the easiest one. You are a dreamer. That is what you are. Now, who are you? That is far more interesting. I'm afraid I'm not able to answer that question for you.
You're like a character in a story.
I am a character in a story. So are you, so is everyone.
No, I mean, there's something. You don't quite seem real.
But as if she hasn't heard him, she keeps looking intently at her telescopes.
They did write a story about me once.
What is it called? What was it called?
The Little Prince.
By Antoine de Saint-Exupéry?
Yes, he was a rather dull man.
But that's about a little prince.
They changed it. Books about boys sell better. At least that's what they say.
The little prince didn't have a father.
Well, Tony got a lot of things wrong, as you can see.
So you didn't come from an asteroid in the sky.
No, not exactly.
Do you have a rose?
No, although I do like roses. There is a garden. Perhaps Tony expanded on that. The coming to Earth, the not belonging here, that he did get right. The fox and the snake he got the colors of. The rest, well, most was out of his own imagination. He wanted to put in a lot of allegorical things about grown-ups and government and societies. Those other planets were all him. A little too on the nose if you ask me. And no, he wasn't my aviator. I know that's what you're thinking. He wasn't.
But he was a pilot, I believe.
Was he? He never told me. Well, he may have been an aviator, but he wasn't my aviator. I never had an aviator. Maybe you will be my aviator. Sometimes things don't come round in the right order, you know? Chronologically, I mean.
When I was small, I wanted to fly planes up to the stars.
See, I always thought that I did have an aviator, but I haven't met him yet.
But I can't fly planes.
Well, the aviator in the book had a broken plane, so he couldn't fly either, though in a different way. Perhaps it was a metaphor. I like the desert, don't you?
No, I never did. Just horrible sand.
But that's why it's beautiful. Somewhere in the sands hides a well.
What are you doing with all the telescopes?
Looking at home, trying to anyway.
Your home is in the stars?
I can jump in, Zoe. Thank you. I'm sorry. My internet's being...
For sure, you're all good.
Yes, it is also in the nucleus of an atom. I can never tell which vantage point will be the best to see it from, so I set up all the equipment. This one is focused on the constellation Virgo, just past the star Alva. This is in one of the atoms of a grain of sand, just here. And this is in your iris.
But
Shh, don't move.
She
She
looks
looks
for
for-
a long beat.
Yeah.
Then she adjusts the telescope ever so slightly.
your home is in there?
It could be.
I don't have a home anymore. May I see yours?
Of course, though you can't look inside your own head. Isn't that funny? Try the Orion Nebula. It's quite pretty and one of the easiest to see it through.
It's beautiful. So pink.
You'd see more if you practiced looking. Shall I draw you a picture of God?
Nobody knows what God looks like.
They shall in a moment. Do you have any paper?
He looks to see if he has anything to draw on.
Shall I draw you a sheep?
No, I don't like sheep.
He finds a scrap of paper and hands it to her.
And something to draw with?
He searches again.
I'm afraid not.
Shame.
She folds the paper into some sort of origami.
You remind me of someone.
Do I? You do not remind me of anyone. You are the same gray color as everyone else here. So perhaps it would be more accurate to say you remind me of everyone. Were you always this color?
How did you get here?
I promise not to tell. But we shall never see each other again, so I don't see how it could do much harm. I don't remember how I first came, but I do remember that it was more of an excursion. I wouldn't stay long. Until one day I did. I couldn't get home again the usual way, so I'm having to go the long way around.
Was that the usual way?
I would fly. Do you know how to fly? Without a plane.
No.
You run at a wall as fast as you can, so fast that when you get to it, you just keep going. Then when you're about a quarter of the way up, you push off and you're in the air. You can fly like that as long as you want, but if your feet touch the ground, you have to use a wall again to get back up. It doesn't have to be a wall specifically. Anything solid and vertical will do, like a tree trunk. I would fly up that way and go see my father. But then one day he said it would be the last time, that I needed to stay here, that flying wouldn't work anymore.
How horrible. How could he do such a thing?
Oh, no, you must understand. The staying here was horrible, but it wasn't him doing something awful. He loves me very much. I knew it even as he told me I had to stay. It's hard to explain unless you've met him. But I think the idea is that I must still love him at the end as much as I did at the beginning. It seemed an easy enough thing, but it's not. After being here a while, I realize it's not an easy thing at all. I think I am supposed to do something, only I don't know what it is.
I'm sorry.
I don't think I quite understand the rules, but I must remember home, really remember it, and love him. If I get to the end and I don't, I'm not sure what will happen. Shall I give you a present? I think we are both here so that I might give you one. I dare say you are in need of it.
He slowly, almost in awestruck, holds out his hands.
No, this is a gift that is given with words.
He lowers his hands.
Shall I tell you what it is like up there? To live amongst the stars.
Ishmael nods. The action is almost like a prayer. The little princess kneels down, then leans over and whispers in his upstage ear. Ishmael gasps slightly, and after a moment, tears start to roll down his cheeks.
Were you there once too? Did you forget the way back? Did you forget who you are?
He just looks at her.
I don't know which is worse. To have lost your memory of home and how to get back, or to remember each tiny detail, to know intimately the way to return and not be able to go.
Are you real? Do you really exist?
I hope not. Existing is a terribly difficult thing to do. You must go back now.
Back?
To wherever you were before you came here.
He starts to go. He stops a beat.
You said the snake.
Yes, he might be coming. And you shouldn't be here if he does. That would be quite bad.
But will you, if he comes?
Oh, yes.
I don't want you to go away.
Well, we shall never see each other again. What happens to me after this should not upset you.
But it does, somehow.
Quite right. Everything we do affects everyone else. What is it they say? You do you. There is no such thing. I'm sorry then, if what happens to me will make you sad.
What is your name?
That is a very intimate question. Give me a name of your own choosing. Everyone has dozens of names, each unique to what exists between only those two people. Give me a name from you.
Moonchild. It's from a story.
Then I shall be in 2 stories.
I'm scared. I feel like I'm trying to outrun the end of the world.
Far stranger things have happened than the end of the world. I'm sorry that they won't come back. Other things may, but they won't.
Where are they? My family. I don't understand how someone can be here and then not be. They must have gone to somewhere, only I can't find them.
Yes. They are just on the other side of my telescope.
Which?
All of them. That is the trouble with living in only 4 dimensions. There are so many things you can't see. You've been strong for so long. Has no one been caring for you? Shall I do something for you? I feel I must. I'm frightened of it.
I don't want you to.
You will do yourself a great disservice if you talk me out of it. I shall give you a reprieve. It will only last for a little while, but it is something I can do.
She slowly walks to him and puts her hand over his heart. They breathe together. A long beat. Slowly, it seems as if all of Ishmael's pain is flowing into the little princess. He relaxes. His breathing becomes easier, but she becomes more and more contracted. Tears fall from her eyes. She gasps.
It hurts.
She sinks to the ground. She suddenly looks very, very human.
It hurts. How do you bear it?
I'm sorry.
I wish the snake would come.
Let me do something for you.
You can't. Just go away now, please.
Ishmael tries to hold her, to comfort her, writhing away from him.
No, don't. They're gone. I cannot bear it. It's like one of my senses has been ripped from me. Just go away, please. Please.
The little princess compulsively raises her hand. A wind picks up blowing sand everywhere. The telescopes tumble down. Ishmael turns and runs away.
The following clip is projected on the back wall. It is scratchy and goes in and out. Safa watches as if she's finally found something on TV that is still getting through the airwaves somehow. She covers her eyes at the violence. Sound fades on the clip and eventually the image fades too. Winter looks out across the desert. Ishmael's room. Matt and Ishmael are alone.
There are only 5 of us left. You, me, Winter, Butros, and Safa. Now that we're finally at peace, we must start wars between ourselves. What happened to love thy neighbor? Surely at this point we're all each other's neighbors.
We do what has to be done. We survived. Is nowhere else for us.
You know, I keep telling myself that, but ever since Cassandra, something just keeps bubbling up inside me. I can't suppress the guilt anymore.
You have to. There is nothing to feel guilty about. You did what soldiers have to do.
How does Safa feel about being married? Did you ever want to get married? She's the last woman in the whole world.
Were you scared you would have to marry her?
By now, they are sitting next to each other. Their hands are close enough to touch, but neither acknowledges it.
I miss people. Strangers. Who would think I'd miss strangers? All the remarkable differences in millions and millions of human beings, they're all gone. I feel like I'm farther away from goodness than I ever have been. What am I to you?
You're my compatriot, a fellow soldier in arms.
A beat. Matt just looks at him. He's not doing good enough.
My friend. My
Brother? The way you charmed me. Was it just so you could get another brother in arms? How about good engineer? To engineer this, all this, a new world. Was it just for that?
What do you think?
A beat. Ishmael passionately kisses Matt. A beat. They separate. Then Matt leans in again. Ishmael pulls back.
What am I to you?
Matt takes a step back.
Do you care for me, or are you just lonely? Just miss being touched, kissed, fucked?
I don't know.
When was the last time someone touched you?
He doesn't answer. Ishmael touches Matt's skin.
Do you love me?
Matt turns on him. How dare he bring love into this?
I don't love anyone.
Coward.
I thought we weren't supposed to have any emotional ties, collateral damage.
Yes, but that's over now.
It's never over. The war is still here, like a ghost in the room. The enemy isn't gone. It's just changed forms. It's harder to place. I thought once the bad guys were gone, we were just supposed to have heaven on earth. But the pain isn't gone.
You thought killing them would kill the pain?
Yes. Didn't you?
Do you?
No, I don't love anyone.
Liar. You can't deal with something until you name it.
I renounce the word love. I do not feel it. I do not believe in it.
So then you what? Need me?
No.
Desire?
Yes.
Is that all?
All. Who are you to talk? What am I to you? Who's a coward? We're the only ones left on the whole earth, and we still can't. I don't trust you. Yeah, I don't trust anyone, not even myself. This isn't the way it's supposed to be.
No. Pretend it was. Then, back before all of this, what would you have done if we had met in another time? I would have asked you dinner. Would you have said yes, held my hand?
I would have been with Peter.
Yes, Peter. This is all his fault in a way. He had the nerve to get killed.
Matt points his gun at him.
You're jealous of me. that I know who I am, that I haven't gone my whole life living a lie, that I had love. I would have gotten married and had the white picket fence and all of it. You hate that I'm more important than you. I am everything you wish you could be, and you cover it up with wit and oratory. You're pathetic.
A beat, referring to the gun.
You wanted a world without those. Now it's the way you solve all your problems.
Matt lowers it.
Have you even been with a man?
Why would you ask that?
I don't know.
You think because of my religion, my culture, I'm completely cut off from who I am? I don't understand the reality of what I want. I'm playing with an idea while you live in the real world.
Maybe.
At university, yes, I was with a man, several. Does that shock you?
It surprises.
When was the first time for you? Did you always know what you wanted?
Yes.
Do you know what you want now?
You promised me a purpose.
Did I not deliver?
You didn't tell me it would have an expiration date.
You do not love me.
No.
Will you ever?
No.
Even if I loved you?
No.
Well done. At least we can feel good.
Ishmael goes to him.
I don't want to just feel good.
Neither do I. But that's what we'll call it.
He kisses Matt. Safa sits in a wasteland. This is the world now outside of their compound. Rubble from fallen buildings, dust. There is nothing organic. But most notable are the pieces of paper, as if the very earth were made of paper. Bits of magazines torn off and blown by the wind, newspapers, whole chapters of books. Safa looks through them as if searching through buried treasure. She picks up one and reads it. The guard watches her, her wings also made of paper.
American administration claims global warming is Chinese hoax.
She picks up another piece of paper.
All children, except one, grow up. In examining Barry's classic work, it is important to note the metaphor inherent to these memorable opening lines. In reality, the only children who never grow up are those that die.
The guard picks up a piece torn from a magazine. She places it in Safa's hands. Safa takes it as if catching it from the wind.
4M by Cassandra Arroway, originally published in the New Yorker magazine.
She reads it silently. It speaks to her heart deeply, a long beat.
Am I
How
the
can love be evil?
Yes. 4M. What a beautiful word. Thank you, God. I must show him. I must.
She runs off. Lights isolate winter, writing, getting angry, tearing up the writing.
There is almost no one left. How can we become purer than we are now? I want paradise. Why am I still in pain?
The selection from the following clip plays, even fuzzier than the last.
Twilight in the desert. Matt sits alone, dressed in military fatigues, searching for something. He carries a gun. It is as if, at least emotionally, he is the walking dead. Cassandra enters on the opposite side of the stage.
I don't get the military gear.
Matt looks like he's going to burst into tears.
What you doing?
I'm muted. Okay. I'm imagining you.
No, you're not. I'm imagining you.
You can't be.
Why's that?
You're dead.
Oh, am I? I don't feel dead.
You are.
What's the date?
I don't know. What does it matter?
The year then.
2023.
Oh, that's why. I'm not here yet.
What do you mean?
I've never run on quite the normal schedule with time. It's like for me, it's always now. It is for everyone, only I don't seem to really care what order I experience now in. And most people care very much. They only go one way.
What does that mean?
Well, right now it's now. And now it's now. But that moment that was just now, it's not now anymore. It's the past.
Yes.
But it was now. And now it's still now. We're only ever in now.
You make my head hurt. I've never. Oh, what does it matter? I'll accept anything. The world's turned upside down.
Put a simpler way. The White Queen and Alice. Jam tomorrow, jam yesterday, but never jam today. It must come sometime to jam today. No, it can't. It's jam every other day. Today isn't any other day, you know. Only it's the opposite with time. It's like no jam tomorrow, no jam yesterday, only jam today. Since every now will be the past and was the future, in a way the past, present, and future are all now. At least that's how I seem to experience things. You may feel different.
What's that like? Time being interchangeable. Is that right?
Sort of. The best I can explain it is it's like being in a large room with millions of TV screens all playing the same movie at different parts. So at any given moment, every frame of the movie is appearing on one of the screens simultaneously with every other frame on the other screens.
So there's no free will. If you can see every frame, the movie's already happened.
Oh, there is free will. Just because you know what the character will do doesn't mean they didn't choose to do it. It's not like you can see what someone will do. You just see all the instances of what they are doing. Does that make sense? Do I want to know how I die?
You don't already?
No. Sometimes I see things as if I'm watching them on TV. Sometimes I live them and sometimes I watch them and then live them again later. And sometimes I can't tell the difference. It's more organic than it sounds.
You don't want to. Can't you stop yourself from dying?
The evidence of my being here and talking to you points to my having complete knowledge of my death when it happens and still dying anyway. So something must compel me to follow the actions that will get me killed, even with the information. There must be a very good reason for it.
There wasn't. When is now for you, chronologically?
2017.
Have I?
Yes, you've done the shooting. It's been so long since I talked to the real you. You kill me, don't you? You do. Not in an out and out murder way. No, that doesn't seem right. The color's wrong, but somehow, by proxy. And it's not a noble thing. You can answer.
No, it'll hurt you.
You already hurt me. I wish I could tell you how much. We're all connected, especially, what's the word for what we are?
Twin souls.
This is the last time I'm ever going to talk to you, isn't it?
Yes, I think for both of us.
Do you have anything you want to say?
I don't know. Do you?
I always wondered if you got my letters, my messages.
Yes. For a while until I came here.
Really? You read them?
Yeah.
Fuck you for not writing back.
I didn't know what to say.
Anything. I needed you to say, listen, I don't understand. Is this a new thing or were you always like this and I just couldn't see? You get me back. For just a moment, I'm alive again and you want to, what, have a self-indulgent pity party? You never took advantage of time.
I never liked it. There was never enough.
Can always be less.
You're stronger than I remember.
People are always more themselves than you remember them being.
I feel like I'm less without you. How is that possible? It's like a part of me died with you, like it did with Peter. Like there's just a third of me left.
Good. I'm angry at you, by the way. I just thought I should put that out there.
I know.
And I was angry before I knew you killed me, just to clarify. Part of me died when you left. Guess we're even. Was it worth it?
I said it was.
What happened? You disappeared, then you did the shooting, and then
I joined with a militant group based in the Middle East to wipe out corruption, bring heaven to earth.
you're a Muslim terrorist?
Not Muslim.
You're a non-Muslim terrorist.
Well, there aren't many career options after you shoot up the NRA. Winter, the leader, he cured he's a god, Cass.
So what does this Winter say will happen in the afterlife? I want to be prepared. Do I get a monkey?
We don't talk about an afterlife. All that matters is here.
So no monkey. Darn it, I was going to name it King George the Curious.
Winter knows what he's talking about.
If you don't listen to him, will you burn in hell?
We don't use those words.
But if you did. Come on, don't back down now. You believe whatever he says?
I guess.
If he said you'd be sitting on a cloud playing harps condemning the wicked,
Yes.
in charge of 7 wives ruling your own planet,
Yes.
gifted 72 virgins,
Yes.
voluntary ones, or is raping them part of your appeal?
Stop.
Why don't you start with me?
What?
I mean, if you're so anxious for Winter's enigmatic reward, you must want to get started.
I'm not going to.
What? Fuck me? Why not? I know you're so into girls.
Stop.
Come on, take me. You deserve it. You're one of the chosen.
Are you a virgin?
Yeah. What? Like it's a rule that everyone over, 25 has had sex?
No. It's
The normal thing to do?
Yeah.
I'm not normal.
Why didn't you?
Never been in love with anyone?
That's not a requirement.
It is for me.
It's not for most people.
Good. So come on, fix me. Take my virginity, oh great martyr. Winter is a fucking pig. When you're dead and staring at your 72 virgins, I want you to picture my face on all of them. You joined a cult?
Nobody joins a cult. They join a good thing, and then they realize they got fucked. I looked into hell and I got stuck. Are you like here to torment me or something?
Hey, you summoned me. You can't silence your heart forever. Even killing me won't shut me up. I'm the obnoxious little sister you never had.
Don't you know how hard it is to do what I did? It was horrible, but I made a statement.
No, shooting a gun into a crowd is easy. It was the cowardly thing.
He looks like he is going to hit her.
Is that why you wanted me here? To tell you everything you did was all right? I feel like we've been stuck in the middle of the ocean in a riptide and I'm pulling you through it. I'm swimming for both of us, but I never minded because I love you, and damn it, if I wasn't going to make sure you're safe, that you're not just struggling anymore. You've given up trying. You gave up trying a long time ago, and I'm spitting up water, dragging all but dead weight, and I need you to help me because I can't save both of us all on my own. Being good is hard. Don't lie to yourself. It doesn't mean anything if it isn't hard. Voice told me that.
I wish I had a voice.
Everyone does. Don't you listen?
I don't know what I believe. It all seems to lead to the same place, shitty human nature. I wish there was a God, a good one who that I could talk to the way I know you would do, and the way I know you would do. Oh. Or if he doesn't exist, that the devil would disappear too. I needed to join with someone if I was going to make any real difference. We had to help each other, but the details, I don't know what to do. I think I needed to prove that I was good, but I'm just a coward with a gun, a stupid, a powerful gun that I thought would make me powerful. Are people Are people inherently good or evil?
Yes.
What if I choose wrong?
Maybe that's why we get time parceled out. We have more than one now when we can choose. I know what I want to ask you. What could I have said that would have stopped you? No one ever listens to me. What good am I if I see, but I can't? I need you to tell me.
I don't know. I keep trying to remember, but when was the moment when everything changed?
I told you would ask that. It was in the garden, in the park, the day after the shooting. The Orlando one, not. Whenever I was with you, no matter what bad thing was happening, I just relaxed. How did you do that? I loved you so much. I always wondered if you felt the same way about me. I think that's what I die wondering. I thought you did, but maybe I was just. Don't answer. This way I can at least keep the Schrodinger's cat of it.
Help me. I can't find my way home. I wish I could go back to that garden with you.
I know. I knew. You wouldn't believe me.
I wish.
I know. I love you. In the deepest part of me, even now.
How can you, after everything?
You're you. And your heart song resonates in mine. Because you saw all of me and it was okay. I love you because I love you.
There are some things, lines that can be crossed. You can't love someone after they've done certain things.
When you decide to love someone, that means you choose to love them forever, for better or worse. Love them, not the thing they did. Maybe no one ever loved me that way, so I decided that's how I would love you. Someone would get to experience it to prove that it was real. Thank God for love, forgiveness. Without it, we'd all be screwed.
You can't have died wondering. You must have known.
Look here, Matt.
You must know.
This is a big deal for him. He swore he'd never say this to anyone ever again in any capacity. He is ripping himself open to do it.
I love you.
A long beat. She takes his hand. A beat.
Does anyone go to my funeral?
I can't answer that.
I just did. I always thought you'd be the only one there.
I don't think there was anyone at your funeral. I don't think you had one.
Thank you for being honest. The shooting, it was different actually doing it, wasn't it? Real dead people were different.
It was like their bodies were masks or something, and they just slipped out of them.
Is that how I look? I guess I must. I wonder if I like being dead. I don't want to die, but once it happens, I wonder if it's all right.
How do I get back? Take me back with you.
Don't know how.
I'm begging you. I'll do anything to go back. Take me.
Can't. I wish I could.
She starts to leave.
Don't go.
I have to.
What do I do? Tell me what I should do. I'll listen this time, I swear.
You have to be good now, whenever now is. Start with my death. Do something now that will help me then.
But it's past.
Not for me.
When you die, know that I love you, and you will be mourned. I don't know if anything important came from it, but it brought my humanity back. No matter how much I tried to suppress it, I couldn't ignore it anymore.
She gives him a kiss on his forehead.
Matt?
Yeah?
I think I'm going to miss you most of all. I won't be gone. Not really. I'll be here. Listen. You promised. Selections from the following clip are projected on the back wall. The image is faded. Blackout. In the blackness, we hear an earth-shattering scream, a beat. The cries continue and get closer and closer until the lights fade up on the compound. Matt and Ishmael run on, terrified by the sound. On the other side of the stage, Winter drags Safa in by her hair. She's wearing a simple white nightgown. She's never been so scantily dressed in front of other people in her life.
Rash! Liar!
Didn't.
She has broken every vow. She was praying with her lover.
What?
Faithlessness is not purity. Even my fucking father knew that.
He flings Safa into the center of the room. Ishmael goes to her.
Your lover?
I will not stand for impurity. We do not defile our bodies. We do not pray to false gods. No wonder we are still miserable.
Winter takes out his gun and hands it to Ishmael.
Butros?
Ishmael takes it and resigned exits.
No, please, brother, no!
You let in the smallest trace of darkness. You let it all in.
A beat. We hear a scuffle outside, then a gunshot. Safa screams. A beat. Ishmael re-enters, blood splattered across him. He gives Winter his gun back. A beat. He grabs Safa's face, smearing blood across it.
After what I've done to protect you, why? All you had to do was what he asked.
I love him.
Feelings have no place in the new age. You would be ruled by primitive chemicals instead of...
She didn't understand. She didn't...
Yes, I did. And I chose. I can choose things. I love him. Allahu Akbar.
Dead silence. The guard enters.
Matt, shoot her.
What?
She's impure. She's not worthy. Just like all the other mindless rats. Purify us.
There are only 4 of us left in the whole world.
This is why we continue to live in hell, because we still harbor impurity. You have heaven in your hands, and you threw, and you're...
It should be you.
And you throw it away for your own desires. I will save us, even if I have to kill everyone to do it.
Matt hesitates.
One evil is greater than another. Guns turn you into an avenging angel, but lies, idol worship, and sexual immorality, you look the other way? Hypocrite. You want heaven on earth? It's too late to turn back.
Matt pulls out his gun. He aims it at Safa's head.
No, please.
She's my sister, the last woman.
It would be evil to sully the future human race by letting them be begotten by her, or disease embedded in the DNA of every person who is ever to come.
Ishmael!
Winter pulls out a gun and aims it at Ishmael. Matt cocks his gun. He hesitates.
How many have you already killed? Without a thought? What's one more? You're a coward. I don't think you really want to see what happens if you disobey my will. Kill the evil in her. Righteousness has nothing to do with love.
Matt pushes the gun against her head. A beat. The guard moves face to face with Matt. Matt involuntarily pictures Cassandra's face in front of him. A long beat. Matt doesn't know what to do. He thinks about Cassandra's words. You have to be good now, whenever now is. Of all the things Matt has ever done, this is the bravest.
No, I won't. I will be good now.
A beat. A breath. Safa relaxes the tiniest amount. Matt's gun is no longer pointed at her head, but he hasn't put it away. A beat. Is he going to kill Winter? He drops his gun. A long beat. Winter points his gun towards Safa. She screams. Be still and know that I am God. Time stops. Lights isolate Safa.
For a moment, just a moment, time froze. And I could breathe and think. It was like I was underwater and I had all the time in the world before I had to resurface. Before real time would come racing up to meet me like a wall of stinging cold, thin air. And in that moment, I started thinking about the garden in Eden, and about why God would be so cruel as to put Adam and Eve there with the tree of knowledge and tell them not to eat from it, with no reason. Why does God ask for blind obedience?
The guard whispers in her ear.
And then I wondered, what if God was eventually going to give them the fruit of knowledge? What if the tree wasn't about cruel denial? What if the whole point was that God wanted them to trust just because God was God and we aren't? What if the apple was God saying to the human race, trust me, love me, because you love me, just as I love you because I love you? Wouldn't that have been enough? Wouldn't that have been beautifully, gloriously been enough? To be in a garden and love? Maybe right now it's a blessing that we don't live forever. Maybe it's God's way of giving us a reprieve.
The guard kisses her forehead. Lights restore. Winter shoots Safa. She collapses. Matt and Winter face off. Winter can't really kill him, can he? And then Winter shoots Matt. Matt dies instantly, with no ceremony, without so much as a lingering thought.
And then there were two.
The lights fade, leaving the body of Safa in a spotlight. Everyone else fades into blackness. The guard kneels behind Safa. Talitha Kumi. Safa's eyes open and she looks up at the guard with awe. She has a million things she wants to say, but she doesn't give voice to any of them. The moment is too holy. A long beat. The guard stands. Safa stands. Safa slowly exits. The guard follows close behind, protecting her. Adolf Hitler sits on the ground in the desert. This is not the young, idealistic Hitler, but the 50-year-old tired one. Ishmael enters.
I want to be done.
I was here first.
Ishmael sits on the opposite side of the stage.
Paradise was not what you thought it would be. Through clever and constant application of propaganda, people can be made to see paradise as hell, and also the other way around, to consider the most wretched sort of life as paradise. I said that.
Yes, I heard you.
No, a long time ago. People wrote it down. It is in books. Words are intoxicating, and I commended them. Did you know in the ghettos we outlawed plays? There's nothing more destructive to people than to take away their stories.
The books are gone now.
Which?
All of them.
Even I didn't get rid of all of them.
You do speak well.
I was the greatest orator of all time. Now the human race has descended so low they don't even demand skills from the direct dictators. Donald Trump, please. My day we had artistry. What is wrong with your generation?
I wanted to save the world, but I couldn't even save my own sister. I always thought it would be God smithing us, but we did it to ourselves. We're just ants running around screaming. No wonder we can't hear from God. How can we talk? How can we meet God until we have words for the heart of what we really mean? We're just droning, faceless grumblings.
No one really wants to meet God. They want to be God. The church didn't prosecute Galileo because he was blaspheming, but because they wanted to be the center of the universe. Because they wanted to be the center of the universe.
Steve Bannon said darkness is good. Dick Cheney, Darth Vader, Satan, that's power.
Not Adolf Hitler. People imagine they can become an all-powerful force of evil. Please. The worst human being who has ever lived is nothing more than a file clerk in hell. That's what makes us the maddest of all.
I want to be good.
No, you don't. I knew one good person. She was absolutely dreadful. Stop.
Gloriosus enters and stands at the back of the stage. He looks like a wise, strong, kind Middle Eastern king. He wears the same pendant around his neck that we have seen before.
What do you really want to ask me?
Why is life worth living? I mean, it is a serious question. If I didn't have the fear that there was a possibility that taking your own life would damn you to hell, I would kill myself right this very minute. And if there's nothing, well, I would do it too, because ceasing to exist is better than this. And I honestly don't understand why the entire human race didn't just collectively off themselves centuries ago. The trite things aren't good enough. The bigger things, if you're in heaven, they'll all be there too. And if there's nothing, then you won't care because you won't remember. I don't mean to sound Klaus. I get that there's something intrinsic in us that finds that idea vile, but for the life of me, I don't know why. The pain I've experienced is never going away. There is nothing to do but despair. And I'm terrified that I'll be punished for not staying and fighting for something that I don't understand. Why don't we all just go? Why didn't the whole human race just look up to the sky and say to God, we're done?
Listen.
No. God should stay away from me.
The Gloriosa stops. He has tears in his eyes.
Because he's going to have a lot to account for. Was hell just an invention to keep us here? Things may be bad, but take your own life and it will be worse. What could be worse than this?
You cannot in your present state understand eternity. It works backwards. It'll turn the darkest agony into a glory, and it'll contaminate the most sinful bliss. The blessed will say, we have always lived in heaven, and the damned will say, we were always in hell, and both will speak rightly.
I cannot wait anymore. I'm like a child whose parents have left him alone at home. They say, we will be back soon, and so he waits, and days go by and there's no food left in the house. And the bills are not paid, so the water and gas and heat are turned off, and he's freezing and starving, but still he waits because his parents told him to, because they said they were coming back. If he walked out the door, he could perhaps find help, but instead he waits and no one comes. And he starves to death. I can no longer wait for heaven to come and take away my suffering. My soul will not survive it.
He takes out his gun.
Aiming at the head is the safest bet. You would have done well in Germany under me. That is, without the disgusting brown skin. Those who are about to die, we salute you.
Ishmael raises the gun to his temple. Ishmael, he shoots. And then there was one. Blackout. Back to the wasteland. Only now all the pieces of paper seem to be the same thing. Winter doesn't notice. We do. Static and TV snow is projected on the back wall. There are no news broadcasts anymore. Winter stares out at the horizon. A long beat. Nothing. Finally, he becomes enraged. He pushes the papers around him, scattering them. Some of them fly into the air. The projection ends. He lets out a barbaric yawp.
I am the last. I have rooted out all the corruption on earth. Why is heaven not here? What more must I do?
A beat. Winter turns and sees the girl. She's a very young Muslim woman. She stands regally against the Brandeis blue sky. She wears a hijab and the same pendant we have seen worn by the gentleman, the guard, etc. She's both a child and an ancient being, like the ghost of Christmas past.
Who are you?
I am.
Who?
I am what I am.
A long beat. Winter realizes. He is both livid and terrified.
No, there is no God. And if there was, it wouldn't be you.
I am what I am. There is no one left to wrestle with but me.
I hate you. You didn't save us.
I can.
It's too late.
No, it is now.
How can you?
I give you now. I shall give you now. My gift to my children now. And now. And now.
No more riddles, no more tasks. I want my reward. I fought for righteousness. Isn't that what you want? Well, I want heaven. Give me heaven. Give me my reward.
The girl just waits. A beat. Winter spits on her. In coming close enough to spit on her, he sees the pendant around her neck.
What is that? Those words you are wearing.
They are a gift.
A gift.
Yes, from my child, my friend, someone who I love.
My words.
No? How could they be?
I am chosen. I've purified. I have served righteousness.
No. I never knew you.
A long beat. Winter's world ends. He tries to grip onto the sides before it disappears completely.
There was only me. I am what I am. I never knew you.
You offend me.
There was no one left to hide behind. No one left to blame. There was no one, nothing left to wrestle with but me. What would you do?
He curls in on himself. He is wrathfully frustrated, immobile. His impulse is to tear his hair out. Pointing to the pendant.
What does it say? Tell me what it says.
Cassandra stands isolated in a pool of light. As she speaks, slowly Winter and the girl disappear. Neither sees Cassandra.
I'm homesick for a garden never seen. The gates are barred, though its perfume haunts the air. How tragic, home's a place I've never been, and in these shadowlands I must forbear. They are metaphors, all reality. Love will smell of roses, trees will sing like string quartets, souls in harmony will choralize throughout each living thing. But even such a heaven can't conform to details that our selfish mind would breed. If this were only that or those we mourn, we'd burn it all if 'twould assure our dreams. You may leave the shadowlands if you'd be free, home in a garden, just roses, God, and thee.
Matt sits on a park bench looking at Cassandra. He has not heard her poem.
Where were you?
Cassandra turns. She is startled. This is the second time Cassandra is experiencing these events. She retains all memory of everything that has come before. Matt does not. This is the first time he is experiencing this moment. The dark cloud over him is gone, or rather, it has not yet arrived.
You went away.
I'm sorry.
What were you doing?
I wish I could take your hurt away.
You can't. He's dead. 49 people dead because they were gay. Because someone believed with every fiber of their being that we all deserve to rot in hell.
Matt breaks down, hysterically sobbing. Cassandra wraps him in her arms.
Am I evil?
A beat. She hugs him tighter.
It's like the world is rotting and I can't stop it. Oh God, we were supposed to go out to dinner and I never canceled the reservation.
We can do whatever you want. Isn't that wonderful? We're at the part of the story where we can still do anything.
I wish.
And suddenly a heavy, heavy weight descends on the scene.
After you leave today, I'll never see you again.
Of course you will.
This is me. All future me's, every me that will ever want to say this to you. You're real. It's really now, and I'm saying this to you with every me that ever has and ever will exist. Don't go to work. Stay here.
If your dad's
Don't dismiss me just because it's easier.
I'm sorry. I have to. I just have a few minutes.
Matt never gave Cassandra the answer of how to handle this moment. Cassandra thinks about Peter. She thinks about the fact that she was dead, but though she remembers everything else, she doesn't remember what that was like.
What do you think heaven is like?
Everything perfect. Isn't that how it's supposed to be?
No. At least, I mean, it is perfect, but not because it's a world where everyone thinks the same and is happy all the time. What if it's just you and people and God in a garden like this? And all the pain and sorrow still happened, but you love anyway. What if all of life is like a big circle? We start out with God and then we feel like we get further and further away from him as time goes on, but every step away is really a step back, and it's in the pain and being angry at him and listening and talking and crying out that we get to really know him. Maybe that's what the trials of life are for. You can't really love someone unless you know them. The pain is what makes you know the love is real. Sometimes I think we just have to live in the pain and forgive and love and be good anyway. But that's the whole point.
How do we do that? How do we know what choices we should make?
Of all the futures that could be, we have to choose the one that we want to come true, and then we do that. I want to lay my head on your shoulder and hear your heartbeat. I want us to stay in the garden, even if we're just looking through the gate together. Do you remember that dream I told you about? About running away from a monster and a voice telling me to fight even though I knew it would kill me?
Yes.
I had another dream that somehow the monster died. And then I found that I was holding a little tiny glowing light in my hand, like a magical seed. And the voice said, make it grow. And I knew what it would cost, just as I had known with the monster. But it'll kill me, I said. Yes, said the voice. Make it grow. We spend our lives.
Doing what?
No, that's just it. We spend our lives. The energy it takes to live, to do things, we only get a certain amount.
Slowly, the girl, the grandfather, and the guide emerge.
I want to make you stay. I want to ease your pain, help you choose to be good, to choose it over pain and revenge, because that's the only way that good wins. You never told me how, so this is the best I can do, and I'm going to do it no matter what it costs. Listen to me. I love you because I love you. Can that be enough for now? Please? Can it please? 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 Please?
Blackout.
Please?
The end.
Do y'all want to take 5 minutes?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Awesome.
Ashley, I have to leave in like 10 minutes. If that's
Okay. Sorry.
No.
Do we all want to jump back really fast? I know a few people have to go. So thank you. We made it through the thing. And thank you all for your really, really wonderful read. Does anybody have any thoughts about this act or things in general, having just done that?
I have like a curiosity question.
Mhm.
What is the Greek equivalent of Snow White, if that's actually true?
Well, it was a folk tale that was around from like well before
I bet.
Gracie's like internally laughing at me for this question. It was a folk tale that was passed down for ages, and it's found in all sorts of different cultures.
Yeah.
I think the like Hungarian or something was Nuri Hadig, and in Italian it was Ermelina. I don't know what exactly the Greek name was, but it existed in different forms.
Yeah, I knew it existed in different forms. I was just curious what the specific or how far back it goes, and specifically that.
Nobody really
that's really
knows
cool.
how far back it goes because it was part of the oral tradition. The Grimm brothers were the first time it was set
written down. Yeah,
but there's history of it in other cultures going pretty far back. So
fascinating. Yeah. Cool.
The pace was decent. It was a little over an hour, and that was with reading the stage directions, and I'm sure pace would be picked up in performance and stuff. So I'm glad that the trimming is helping a little bit.
Yeah, it seemed really tight to me.
Good.
And it also seemed like all essential, which was also just like, I mean, not that it hasn't been, right? Like it has all seemed so essential, but I think like especially just like with the just all seemed it seemed tight, and every character seemed like it had a purpose.
Okay.
I mean, it was like it felt pretty solid. It felt pretty solid, and like it was great because it reads really, really well. And so it seems like the only thing I could see like getting stuck on for Act 3 would be potentially having something where like our group would like then have discussion, but like everything seemed pretty solid to me.
Good.
Yeah.
I actually just went and trimmed a couple more things, but it didn't, unlike the last two acts, it didn't feel like, oh man, there's a lot of stuff I got to cut out of here.
Also, like, I think Act 2 seemed like pretty solid too. Like, I think it was just Act 1 that ran a little bit long.
Yeah, it's because that's where I had to add all the new scenes.
Right, exactly. But like Cassandra worked really, really well in this read. Same with the little princess.
Good. That was the first time hearing it with the little princess and Ishmael. It used to be Matt that was in that scene with her.
Yeah. But it was like, I mean, it read like really, really, really well.
Good.
Yeah.
The other big change in this act was how much the guard shows up in it. Yeah. Originally, the guard only came to sort of usher Safa into death, but in the wanting to expand on the relationship that Cassandra and the gentleman have and wanting to share that with other people, I brought the guard in more, which I kind of enjoyed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did to what Zoe's saying. It did, like, I personally actually I didn't really have notes or comments written. It was tight. It felt right. It felt good.
Gracie, I know you have to leave in just a minute. Did you have any thoughts, anything specific also to the roles that you were reading because you were the one doing it?
I actually really, really liked the guard character. I thought it kind of reminded me of Shadow a little bit when he was like sitting over Safa and all that. Yeah, but I really liked it. I like this act the best, I think. Just like what happened like with the plot and stuff. I think this one really like resonated the most with me.
Ashley, I'm gonna hop off too, just because I remembered I had to eat before my next meeting.
Yeah. Well, really, really fast. Were there any other major notes or thoughts that anybody wanted to share right now that came up?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the scenes between Matt and Ishmael are really good. I wonder if I don't know how to articulate this, but I guess I wonder if things can build, if the tension, if the building to that can be built more through what's not said versus what is said. I think that that's a fun thing to explore, and I think usually makes scenes like that really, really rewarding when it gets to its conclusion. So that's really the only note I have. But other than that, the scene is great. So that's just like putting the cherry on top, basically.
Cool. And Jeremy,
go ahead. Sorry, Zoe, what were you saying?
Jeremy like things, so that is a huge compliment. Like he only liked Ibsen, so like and Sondheim.
Vinay, did you have anything that came up for you? I think you're muted.
I think that things are tying up nicely, and especially with the discussions we've had.
Okay.
From before. The only scene that read a little long to me, where I started to be conscious of it, was the little princess scene.
Okay.
That it may need to tighten up a little bit, but that's the only one where I felt I felt that. But I think the second Cassandra and Matt scene, not the second, the Cassandra and Matt scene, I really felt like a goodbye, and it was that landed nicely.
Good.
I think. So yeah, I think it's shaping up to respond really well to the first two acts, and I know there's been changes made on those. So
yeah. And side note, Safa's last little monologue about sort of the moment before she dies, the intention is that will be said in the language, the primary language of wherever the play is being performed. Kind of like magic realism, she can suddenly speak in like whatever language the audience would be most likely to understand, kind of a thing. Thank you. This was huge and amazingly helpful. I think I have a few more, like obviously little adjustments and stuff that I want to make, but I've also made kind of like really massive changes to Act 1 and Act 2 from our discussions that like we haven't read yet. So Zoe and I have been chatting, and I think it would be a very good idea for many reasons to take a break until after the new year, and to sort of assess what next steps are and what is most needed. But I think something that would be helpful for me is when I make the final little adjustments after today, if I send everybody the script, if maybe by like the second week of January, if everybody might be able to read it so that we can chat about what the piece is that sort of exists now. Because I feel a little bit like I've been trying to run to keep ahead of a train a bit. And I want to make sure that the things that I've done are also working. Does that sound good, doable to everyone?
Absolutely.
So read it by January 2nd, and then have a discussion.
Second week of January.
By the second, by
New Year's Day.
By New Year's Day.
We'll have memorized.
The dawn of the new year. And then have a discussion, or like just.
I think Zoe and I are going to chat. I'm guessing probably some sort of discussion, and I know because also I want to move it into the place where like Omar, I know you and I have talked about making sure that like the Arabic is really properly translated and stuff, and moving to a place where I feel like it's time for that work to start to be done or whatnot. So at least if we can all read it by the second week of January. And I just want to tell you how much it means to have your time and energy and your brilliant, brilliant thoughts, and your generosity of spirit. It's meant so much and has so deeply been helpful to this piece and to me. And I just want to thank you very, very much. So I don't want to keep anybody much longer than needed, but did anybody else have any thoughts, questions, concerns about anything? Vinay, by the way, I think you make a great winter. Actually, awesome job. Well,
here's your contract. No, I'm kidding.
And thank you so much for your commitment to this piece and for your help. It's really made a difference. So I know everybody has stuff to do. But thank you. If you have any other thoughts, please feel free to message me anytime. And by the beginning, middle of next week, I'll send everybody an updated draft again. So thank you all so much. You're all wonderful.
Sounds
And
good.
Thank you. Thank you.
And happy holidays, everyone.
happy holidays.
Yes.
Stay safe.
Happy holidays.
I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right.